Coming up, Kazakhstan recognized COVID vaccine passports of 6 more countries. Details next. Common values and mutual interests. Kazakhstan and the US discussed the prospects for further cooperation during an online conference.
How we imagine our future today is the key to creating a better tomorrow.
A dance with a robot and a call for nature conservation. Kazakh EXPO Pavilion in Dubai is attracting more and more attention. The United States invested in Kazakhstan's economy more than $50 billion over 30 years. According to the Kazakh Ministry of National Economy, this is nearly 15% of the total volume of foreign direct investments attracted to the country. The US today is one of the largest investors in the state. Over the past 15 years, mutual trade has reached $35 billion. To date, over 500 US companies are successfully operating on the territory of Kazakhstan. Prospects for further cooperation were discussed at an online conference dedicated to the Kazakh-US relationship. It was attended by diplomats, experts, representatives of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Kazakh Ministry of National Economy, and the Astana International Financial Center.
The U.S. has been a reliable partner supporting our independence and state-building efforts. It's based on common values and mutual interests over the course of those 30 years that Kazakh-U.S. ties have developed into the enhanced strategic partnership relations. Now it's, I believe, a time to look for complementarities of US-Kazakhstan engagement. And since the global threat posed by the pandemic requires collective approach, we look forward to enhancing our cooperation with the United States to build greater global health capacity and ensure the availability of vital medical supplies and vaccine manufacturing equipment.
The second stage of the Export Acceleration Program has started in Kazakhstan. This was informed during a briefing dedicated to the theme of possibilities for support and development of Kazakh business owners. This year, the number of participants has increased almost 3 times. 100 domestic companies have already been registered. Many of them intend to enter the markets of China, Russia, the United Arab Emirates, and Central Asian countries. Basically, they are going to supply food and light industry goods. Today, about 5,000 types of products manufactured in Kazakhstan are exported to 120 countries. Participants have already passed through diagnostics of an international scoring model, and an individual export plan is being prepared for each company. We also have international partners with the base of potential customers who will assist us in finding reliable clients for our participants. The CIS countries will establish a joint engineering unit for humanitarian demining to be carried out by the armed forces of the member states. Today, the Senate of the Kazakh parliament ratified the corresponding agreement. The document will define the rules and directions of the unit's work. According to the Kazakh Vice Minister of Defense, the militaries of the Commonwealth of Independent States will jointly conduct technical minefield reconnaissance, examine sites for mines and explosive objects, as well as explore former battlefield areas and much more.
Гуманитарлық минасыздандыру операциясына қатысу үшін
The purpose of the agreement is to define the procedure for the formation, application and termination of the activities of the joint unit, its status on the territory of the host or transit party, and the status of military personnel of the parties during the period of humanitarian demining. The document was signed with a reservation whereby our country will consider sending a national engineering unit to the territory of a third state that is not a member state of the CIS as mandated by the United Nations Security Council.
Қауіпсіздік кеңесінің мандатына сәйкес мүмкін деп санайды.
There is a catastrophic shortage of radiologists in Kazakhstan. The coronavirus pandemic has clearly demonstrated the importance of doctors specializing in this particular area. Head of the radiology department of the National Center for Neurosurgery, және, announced it at the opening of the 9th Eurasian Radiological Forum. According to him, despite the fact that the country has enough equipment, the problem of staff shortage remains relevant. That's why it's important to bring together young doctors, experienced specialists, and international professors at such forums. During the 3-day meetings, participants will discuss the place and role of radiology in the pandemic and share new developments in this area.
20-шы жылы, 21-дің осы бірінші жарты жылы бүкіл әлемде
The years 2019 and 2020 have shown the great importance of the field of radiology, as well as our radiologists, especially those who do CT scanning. This is the situation not only in Kazakhstan, but all over the world. Actually, the issue with the technical equipment has been resolved. Now, big cities have not one, but several radiation therapy departments. However, there is still a shortage of qualified personnel in this area. In the current settings, professional radiologists are as valuable as gold.
Екі бастан. Проблема кішкіні мамандарда. Қазір мынадай ситуация болғаннан кейін кішкіні мамандарда жетіспей қалды осы салада.
In the past 24 hours, Kazakhstan registered 2,063 cases of the coronavirus infection. The highest single-day count was recorded in the Almaty city, where 423 people tested positive for the dangerous disease. Plus, 281 cases were reported in the capital of the country. Almaty region takes the third place with 197 infected patients. The total number of COVID-19 cases in Kazakhstan has exceeded 898,000 over the pandemic. Meanwhile, according to the country's health ministry, over 55,000 patients continue to receive treatment for coronavirus to date. 206 patients are currently in critical condition. 124 are connected to the artificial lung ventilation devices. The coronavirus vaccination drive in Kazakhstan continues. According to the latest data, 6,776,270 residents have already received both components of the vaccine. Kazakhstan recognized COVID-19 vaccine passports of 6 more countries. The corresponding decree was signed by Kazakh Chief State Secretary Dr. Yerlan Kiyasov. The vaccine certificates from Argentina, Iran, San Marino, Belarus, Armenia and Estonia are now valid on the territory of Kazakhstan. Earlier, this list included Hungary, Thailand, Mongolia, Georgia, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova and Turkey. Thus, Kazakhstan recognized COVID-19 vaccine certificates of 13 countries to date. The World Health Organization approved the use of the first vaccine against malaria in the world. It will save tens of thousands of children every year. It is reported that the vaccine stimulates the immune system of children to combat the deadliest malaria pathogen and the most common in Africa. During a pilot program in Ghana, Kenya and Malawi, more than 800,000 children received the vaccine. 200 million cases of malaria are registered globally every year. 400,000 people die, more than half of which are children in Africa under the age of 5.
Malaria has been with us for millennia, and the dream of a malaria vaccine has been a long-held but unattainable dream. Today, the RTSS malaria vaccine, more than 30 years in the making, changes the course of public health history. We still have a very long road to travel, but this is a long stride down that road.
In Chile, coronavirus vaccine is planned to be produced from a rare plant. Kili trees make saponin molecules. The chemical substance helps strengthen the immune system. A local enterprise is going to produce almost 4.5 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccine as early as 2022. They will be primarily exported to the low and middle-income countries. In Austria, the raids were conducted in the offices of close advisors to the country's chancellor Sebastian Kurz. The politician and his associates are suspected of bribing a number of media outlets. According to the prosecutor's office, 5 years ago, budget funds were used to finance the publication of newspapers, articles and polls with positive responses, which made Kurz to become the federal chancellor. The head of the government denied suspicions and said that he will remain in his post despite the anti-corruption investigation.
The growth rate in real estate prices will decline. Ramazan Dosov, an analyst of the Association of Financiers of Kazakhstan, gives such forecasts. In his opinion, apartments will rise in price, but not at such a rapid pace, because the current market surge was sharp given the current levels of income of the population. The possibility of using the surplus of pension savings for the purchase of housing will also affect the decline in prices. As known, Kazakh citizens have already withdrawn more than 75% of the planned volumes. In addition, preferential mortgage programs are being phased out. Thus, no pressure on prices is expected, the expert said. According to the Bureau of National Statistics, since the beginning of the year, apartments in new buildings have risen in price by 11% and in secondary housing market by 17%.
The robot and human dance is the culminating performance in the Kazakh EXPO pavilion in Dubai. It is a new future in which the collaboration of a human and a robot does not harm their common home, the planet. On the contrary, by combining all their forces, they are trying to save the Earth. With her dance, Maria Volodaric tries to convey the idea that the well-being of the planet depends on the responsibility and personal contribution of every single person in the world. Some 10 years ago, we could not even imagine that this would happen. Now it's very developed, and maybe in 100 years we'll have cars flying around and some kind of artificial intelligence. We shouldn't think of it as some kind of magic. In the Kazakh pavilion, visitors are plunged into a cool step. It is a real bliss after plus 40 degrees Celsius and extreme heat in Dubai. After that, the audience begins to smell the aroma of raw wood. The pavilion visitors can learn more about the flora and fauna of Kazakhstan as well as the country's tourism potential. And all this is accompanied by the magical sounds of the Kazakh dombra. This is the first time I have heard this kind of music. It's very melodic. Your national dance is very beautiful. This is the first time we have ever been to such a huge and large-scale exhibition.
The animated film Ribbon by a young Kazakh director won more than 50 awards and nominations at prestigious international film festivals. The short film by Paula Ilario Cozino tells the story of a girl who suddenly wakes up in a magical world and meets strange characters on her way. According to the author of the project, the work on the film was completed 2 years ago. During this time, the film participated in festivals in the US, Europe, Russia, Japan, China, and received positive reviews from film critics around the world. Cozino was born and raised in Almaty.
The Ribbon is 2D animation short, which is basically, we have a lot of beautiful representation. It's a beautiful world that girl lives in, and she's going through a lot of obstacles to find her goal. And it's quite touching. It's a drama because it brings up questions of life, death, of like our decisions, of us being selfish or us caring about other people, and all of it through the girl's eyes, through a girl's experience, so it's quite touching.
2 years ago, the Kazakh film director opened her animation studio, and she is currently continuing her work on new animation projects.
Strength, power and incredible speed, the Festival of National Sports Dala Rukhy, which started at the end of August, has finished in Nur-Sultan. Qualifying competitions were held throughout the country. Over 7,000 people took part in them. As a result, the strongest athletes made their way to the finals. The festival was dedicated to the 30th anniversary of Kazakhstan's independence and the 150th birth anniversary of the renowned wrestler Qazaq Munaytpasov. At the closing ceremony, the winners of the national tournament for the Federation Cup in Tenge Alu and Jambu Atu were also awarded. This year's competition was a success. We can say that we have witnessed a real show. I have no doubt that the next tournaments will be held at an even higher level and our athletes will show even better results.